from my own family's personal example, I can say is the mistake we made has been just being actively involved in day-to-day management. Since I don't do it anymore, I need to do something to leave my mark on the family business, and I choose to do international business. So inshallah, if we have this conference in a few years, we'll have a better story to report. But I think from the core of the problem in my mind is just too much involvement in business. And you don't want to call it micromanagement, but whether it is a CEO position, whether it is active board participation or active board involvement in a company, or whether it is having too many family members do different jobs in the company. If you don't groom talent, if you don't have people to throw you out of your current positions, you won't have enough money that you're making to think of bigger things. So it really goes back to the governance issue in my mind.
Yeah, governance is very important, and at the end of this session I'm going to tell you a brief story on governance. But let me ask Haider Saab about his experience on the international scene, the globalization of the Pakistani family business.
Before I touch on that, I'd just like to go back to what Umar was saying regarding the day-to-day management. We see that within our own group because my father, he was the first managing director of packages, but then he was nationalized, and some of our businesses were nationalized, but he was also nationalized, and then he went and set up the National Fertilizer Corporation. On his return, then he, instead of getting back as a managing director and getting involved in the day-to-day running of the business, he actually decided to become an advisor. And that was the time when he started to actually give a lot of time to strategic thinking on how the group should diversify. So that was the time when the idea of Milk Pack, then the joint venture with Nestle came up. That's also when the time when the joint venture with Tetra Pak was set up. That was also the time when the joint venture with Mitsubishi was set up. So all those things happened, once he got himself removed from the day-to-day running of the business. We haven't gone global. We have gone international in the sense that we did set up an operation in Sri Lanka. This was 10 years ago. Since then, we have also been managing operations in Syria on the paper making side. We are actively looking, like Umar, for other manufacturing opportunities, either in the Middle East or in North Africa. We've also toyed with the idea of going into Eastern Europe. So all those things can only be done once one is removed from the day-to-day running of the organization.
Thank you. I named many of the businesses here which are not on the scene, but perhaps Dawood is one of the big one which is on the scene, though disintegrated very thinly, but majority of the Dawood businesses are in one family. And I like to ask this question, what is the success of this, that we see that Dawood are there and there are others who have not? What really you have made a difference?
Well, I don't know if it's a success according to our grandfather's vision who set up the group, because nationalization actually affected us very, very badly. We had two blows. One was that we lost a lot of our businesses in East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, and then we had a spate of nationalization. And it affected us very poorly because a lot of family members who were involved in those companies that we lost were out of jobs. So where do you put them? So the same question, coming back to business meritocracy versus family equality, that issue was not handled correctly. And the Dawood group actually broke up into 4 different Dawood groups. There were 4 founding members of the group, and now there are 4 Dawood groups. So each one was spearheaded by the children of the founders. So it didn't survive in the classical sense. It actually did get fragmented. But I think going forward, in order to grow the business internationally, I believe that businesses need to depend on a strong middle management, a very, very strong middle management. Businesses need to develop innovation. Businesses need to develop transparency, accountability, and develop the processes which they can grow outside. A corner shop cannot go outside. You have to put in the training in the manpower, put in the money in the research and development, so that, as the speaker earlier before this presentation said, markets keep on moving. And when markets keep on moving and you have central control in Pakistan, you can't act fast enough if markets change in Sweden. You just can't do that. You have to have the delegation, the systems with which you can allow people internationally to adapt to changing scenarios and have the accountability which should be centralized. That's fine. But unless and until you fix the systems, develop the people, bring in research and innovation, it's going to be very hard, because all the other ones require a lot of fixed capital, and fixed capital is not the strength of Pakistan.
I'm on my left, you see the third generation. Here is the fourth generation, and you are into the second. How do you see your third generation coming into the business?
Well, if I would have known, I wouldn't be sitting here. I cannot answer that question, because, what I would like my generation to do is, of course, expand the family business and become more professional, and when they attain that level to take the responsibility, and when they are in their own right, not I have to kind of hand over the rein to them. I want to leave when I set up the scene. I want to leave my family businesses in an institution where they are responsible, or they are called with their own capabilities to come and take the charge, not by force or by giving them on a plate. That's what I would like my generation to come when I step out.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I took this floor at 3:15, so I still have half an hour. And I said to my panelist that this morning there was very little interaction from the audience, and there were one or two questions. So we will at least take 3 to 4 questions. Be precise, introduce yourself and address the question.
जो आपने पहली स्लाइड दिखाई उसमें आपने बताया था कि 15% जोन से हैं वो फैमिली बिजनेसेस आगे जा रहे हैं, 85 जोन से हैं वो इस सिनारियो से हट गए हैं. एक तो ये बताएं कि इसकी वजह क्या है, आया कि लैक ऑफ ट्रस्ट ऑन दी यंगस्टर्स है, या कि कोई एजुकेशन की कमी है, या कि एक वर्ल्ड वाइड ये ट्रेंड है कि ये फैमिली बिजनेसेस आगे नहीं बढ़ते. दिस इज माय क्वेश्चन.
लैक ऑफ प्रोफेशनलिज्म, सेठों का कल्चर जो कि रहा है पास्ट में, और इसी वजह से ये वैनिश हुआ है. और ये कई ममालिक के अंदर यही चीज़ है कि अथॉरिटी सेंट्रलाइज करना, डेलीगेट ना करना, ट्रस्ट का एलिमेंट अपने स्टाफ पर, अपने प्रोफेशनल्स पर ना करना, उनको चेक की साइनिंग अथॉरिटी फॉर एग्जांपल ना देना, या उनकी लिमिट 5,000 रुपये या 50,000 रुपये रख देना. तो ये सारी चीज़ें जो हैं वो इवॉल्व करती हैं इस इशू के पीछे. लेकिन प्रोफेशनलिज्म मेरे ख्याल में इनके पास ज़्यादा है. ये बताएंगे कि इससे इन्होंने क्या अचीव.
जिस तरह मोइन साहब कह रहे थे, ट्रस्ट, आई थिंक दैट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, is to trust the professionals totally. If you've given somebody that responsibility, then trust him totally. As far as, we go through a budgeting process. The company goes through a budgeting process in which the senior management gets involved. And luckily or unluckily, I'm the only family member within that senior management. So once that budget is approved, then as far as the expenditure is concerned, I don't have any check signing authority, or I don't sign any checks at packages at all. So none of the expenditures come to me for approval. Once the budget is approved, then the chief operating officer, it's his responsibility to ensure that everything that is spent is according to that budget. So I think that's what I can say in terms of profession.
Samad.
One very basic cause we need to understand is that when family businesses are started, it's started by one entrepreneur. Now the probability of that